Midway through a client workshop, I suddenly blanked, totally froze, my heart pounding. But I've practiced what to do. All I did was pause and smile, and I used a few tools that I'll show you now. That talk ended up being one of my bests. Now, this is going to happen to any speaker. There's going to be a chance or a time when you get on stage and your mind is going to blank out. The key is, how do you handle it? That one method that I use can work every time. What did I do? I simply paused. I realized I forgot what I was going to say next. I forgot the next points. So I simply paused. I smiled, and then I reset myself, and I was able to regain control. That's what you can do. Not only should you pause and smile, take a breath. Exhale first, then inhale slowly, and use eye contact to just re-engage with the audience. Don't lose that eye contact. You may have a tendency at that point, at that nervous moment when your mind freezes up, you blank out, to just look down. I know you want to do that, but don't. Look at that audience, re-engage with them, and smile to connect back with the room. One thing that you can do if you're trying to get back your train of thought and pick up that next point, you can just say, let me rephrase that. So you can just simply rephrase what you just said, the previous point. This will give you the opportunity to pick up where you left off and then remember what that actual next point is. One of the things that you can do if you freeze up, it could be a nervous block of energy that you have and you've just kind of almost paralyzed yourself. Opportunity to get out of this is just do a small movement, slight movement, shift your energy, just a small step anywhere on the stage, something that can just build that momentum and kind of unblock your mind. So remember that movement can just help you re-engage with the audience and with the material. Now, a speaker that I once coached had this same thing happen to her. She lost her place and froze up. She really just panicked. But all she did to recover was pause. She smiled and she asked everyone a question. How has everyone felt, by the way? How is everyone feeling, by the way, today? She then laughed. She breathed, and then she got right back on track. It made the room feel more relatable to her because they knew, all right, maybe she messed up. Maybe she lost her train of thought, but they couldn't really tell. She just connected with the audience. She asked them how they felt. So if you do freeze up, you forget the next point, maybe just skip that. Think about the next point or the next point. Whatever it is, your audience doesn't know your outline. They don't know the order of your speech. So they'll never know if you mix up some of the points. As long as they are logically make sense, you can replace one point with the next as long as you remember that and you just keep going. Another way that you can recover from freezing up is just use a go-to story as a fallback. Think of something maybe related to the content, related to the material, that's a personal story that you can always tell on a moment's notice. You know it backwards and forwards. Pull that story in. Make it relate to what it is that you're talking about. This will give you a chance to not only pivot, but to recall your train of thought and get back on track. So another thing that I've seen many speakers do is as they're speaking, they're self-critical and they're self-analyzing themselves. So it's almost like they're speaking, then they're looking back into what they just said and saying, wait, did I do a good job? Why is the audience looking at me like that? Why is that guy checking his phone? They're hypercritical, and this is a recipe for disaster. This is going to get you into a trap that you'll never be able to get out of. Never be critical of yourself and analyze yourself while you're speaking. leave that for rewatching the videotape afterwards. There's always a time and place for everything. The main thing that you want to do, even if you freeze up, you lose your train of thought, is just own that moment. Don't apologize. Just be confident. And it's all about how you handle that particular mishap. Now, another client told me that there was one time that they forgot what they're saying, but they just stayed calm. They moved on. They skipped a couple points, but no one ever noticed, and it went smoothly. So just remember, most of the time, if you freeze up and you forget what you're saying, that time lapse may seem like it's an eternity, but the audience doesn't even realize it. It's probably just like a split second. So if you handle it calmly and effectively using the strategies that I discussed, you'll be able to get through it no matter what happens on stage.